as we begin all things, we're going to begin in prayer. And Gloria, I'm just going to ask if you'd like to lead us in prayer.
Yes, I will. Well, good morning, everyone. It's been an interesting week, and I know that God has been in our minds watching over us, and we need the help of our Lord and his mommy. So let's say a prayer. Let's say the Hail Mary, because that's the one I really like to lean on, okay? In the name of the Father, and the Son, the Holy Spirit, amen. Mary,
Hail Mary,
Full of grace,
The Lord is
the Lord
with
is
thee.
with thee.
Blessed art
Blessed art
thou
thou
among women, and blessed is the fruit of thy
thy
womb,
womb,
Jesus.
Holy
Holy
Mary,
Mary,
Mother of God,
pray for us sinners,
now and at the hour of our death.
death.
Amen.
Amen.
in the Father,
The Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
amen.
Okay, so I'm going to mute everybody again and unmute Gloria, and then Gloria is going to get us kicked off. So go ahead, Gloria.
well, I had the most interesting week of highs and lows. There were days that I was so filled with optimism and excitement over the fact that I was learning new technology. I was able to comply, and I was able to witness what the teachers in my school were doing, as well as the many emails I got from you and all the ideas that you gave me last week that I was able to really reflect on. Some of the lows were, well, first of all, it was the weather. That rain doesn't help anything, and it does pull your spirit down a little bit. But there were struggles. There were struggles, a lot of technology bumps, but happily, there have been more ups and downs. So I'm glad that I experienced that, and I'm very interested now to hear how your week went. I would like to open the microphone in a minute, but I'd like you to tell me individually, has there been something that has been greatly successful, or has there been a big problem that you still haven't been able to get around? So having said that, Anne, let's open it up to our audience and let's see what they have to say.
Hi, everybody. Denise from Academy of St. Therese. How are you all? This week, we're trying to do live Zoom meetings with the children, and we're finding that very difficult. I do the pre-K 4. They're climbing all over the chairs. Their parents are in the videos. The baby brother and sister are standing there waving and yelling. So I'm really finding that difficult, as much as I want to connect with them. And even if I say, aren't you happy? Because we're actually coming in once a week in the classroom to try and do something so the kids can see the classroom and feel like we're still here. It's still here, our classroom. I do the rest of the stuff from home. And they're like, no, we're not happy to see you. So, you know, it makes me laugh. I don't take it to heart. But I'm just finding that so difficult to get their attention and focus with them, that I'm feeling I should just stick with the videos and just one social interaction a week or two a week, so the kids can just talk and tell me what's happening, rather than having me go through morning meeting and having me do that. And I don't know how anybody else is handling the live instruction.
And anybody can feel free to unmute themselves. You just got to do what I did. Anna Sullivan told me that I forgot to unmute myself. So like any good grandparent, I was just talking on mute. Sorry about that. But does anybody have something they'd like to share with Denise?
Hi, I'm Donna from St. Joe's in Roselle, and I have the 4.5 to 5s. So I post my video, and it can only be 8 minutes on Class Dojo every morning. So I usually do 2 to 3, so I can finish my circle time. And I'm doing Zoom this week. And yesterday, the first half was a disaster. I wanted to go outside with them and look for something yellow, because we're in the color Y, the letter Y. They were talking. It was blowing, so it was really crazy. But when I came inside, I asked everybody, and I had 9 of my 16 children on Zoom. I asked each of them to go find something that was yellow, and everybody left and they came back and we all held it up. And then I screenshot it and put it on the school dojo page. Just
Okay.
are still doing things. So the noise level and the concentration is a little, but what I'm sending out in my newsletter today, because we send the newsletter on Dojo also every week, and we always did, was I asked if parents might be interested in reading. I said that their child can pick their favorite book, and together, if we start each of our Zoom meetings, the twice a week, with a story that one of the children and parent are reading together, it might get the children to pay more attention, and it's something special and important to them. So
That's a great
we're
idea.
trying that next week.
That's a really great idea.
I'm Jen Mead. I'm from Aquinas Academy Preschool, and Linda Manak and I have been doing like co-teaching together on Zoom, and we started this week, and we feel like by today we finally have gotten it down to a routine. Like anything, like with teaching with preschoolers, I'm pre-K 4s. They're antsy and everything, so we've done a catchphrase that we use. They're all set, and then the kids say, "You bet." Even though they're all muted, we had them put their thumbs up so we know that they're ready. It's kind of to get their attention, to make sure that they're focusing on us. But also our preschool director, Gloria Castucci, who's on here as well, Linda and I had talked to Gloria and asked if she could put an email out to the parents in the beginning when we started Zoom meetings, and we kind of set guidelines, like please have your child set up in their workspace, please stay near them, because the first meeting we're sitting in with them, with the kids, and there were a lot of distractions, and we just asked that they, gave them a couple guidelines to follow about staying near them in case they need to unmute their screen and stuff. And now Linda and I are at the point where we're actually teaching them some things so they can be more independent. I know, Linda, you'll get to that later, sorry. But it helped once that email went out to the parents. And as long as, of course, the parents are reading the emails, it did help us then with our Zoom meeting. We noticed a big difference with the kids sitting there. And then we try to have them involved as well with different activities that they hold up, like almost like for the quick, checking for understanding, where you have them hold up, like do a thumbs up or stand up, sit down, keep them moving, and having them actively engaged in our activities. And we also keep it short. We try to make it 20 minutes because to have their attention for that long. Sorry if I went on. I was just trying to get tips.
No, I appreciate it. They're all great ideas. I'm going to give them all a try. Thank you.
You're
Can I just
welcome.
interject like that, because what we decided to do at Aquinas, we have 2 4-year-old classes, 2 3-year-old classes. The teachers came up with the idea that they would like to team teach together. Jen is the half day, Linda does the full day, but the curriculum is similar. Everybody has their own style. So we found that if you partner with someone, if the Zoom is overwhelming, somebody has to work with the equipment. I could never do that while I was teaching, but they were able to come up with a strategy where they're balanced. And then now they're so comfortable, they're flip-flopping. Jen is now doing the teaching, doing the technology. Linda's doing the instruction. It's going back and forth. So if you can get a colleague or a coworker to support you on this, I don't see a problem with partnering with another preschool class. It makes it more manageable. We share the workload. And then we just made sure in the beginning that we did send out, like Jen said, to ask the parents to help their children focus. I know what you're saying, that they're all over the place, that they're not looking at the screen. They have no idea what we're doing. This is a novelty. They don't realize that they're on the screen. So for them, it's like we're doing this from Mars. I don't have any idea what's going on. For the first meeting, we gave them like 10 minutes to wiggle around and say hello to every person there, just to become comfortable with the process. And now we've moved to today, we do it 5 days a week. Every day, once at 8:30, and then we do it again at 12 o'clock for closure. In between, they get their hours of remote activities on our website. But we do morning time, we've done show and tell. Even the 3s are doing it, like tell me what you had for breakfast. They're all getting to talk in rhythm. They don't know. You know how at the beginning of the year is. Nobody talks and listens to each other. Right now, they have to learn how to work the technology. So we feel that even though we're not covering the typical preschool curriculum, we're enriching them by their learning how to mute and unmute and go to the large screen and the galley screen. So it is a challenge, but we've had a wonderful week. Having said that, Anne, please mute me.
Okay. So Jessica West, did you want to share something with us?
I'm from Our Lady Help of Christian School. Yesterday, it was just the parents were there, somebody sitting next to the child, and the grandmother is teaching another grandchild, and like I didn't know about the unmute and mute until now. And so yesterday it wasn't a success. So what I did was, okay, it's like social interaction via internet. That's what we did the entire time for like 45 minutes. I had the kids talk to each other, and that's it, because it wasn't a success yesterday.
No.
But that was a success, Jessica, because if you gave them that opportunity to see each other by itself as a first try, that was huge. And
we do it, I'm sorry to cut you off. We do it like twice, once a week. It depends on the parent's schedule. So my question is, I would send them emails and I would be the one to ask when is the best time. So I had to work, and if some parents are okay with 3 o'clock, other parents are not okay with the 3 o'clock. So since I'm doing it by myself, or I'm not asking anybody what to do, so like I said, I'm gonna change everything. Like, do I have to set my own time and whoever is available? I don't know.
You know, you start school at 8:30. You cannot wait till 9 o'clock to start the lesson for somebody who comes late, and you can't wait till 12 o'clock. You are the leader. You are in charge. Some will be able to comply, others will not. Once the parent has worked to demonstrate or sit in for a couple of meetings with the child, as long as they set them up, mommy can, we see parents working on another computer while we're talking to their child. So for many people, it's almost an opportunity for them to step away from amusing or entertaining their child for that half hour. They can go and do their work. You have to be less generous at this point. Establish what works for you. If they can come in, fine. If they can't make them all happy.
There are parents who are teachers, and they said, like, let's say I would set up like an 11 o'clock virtual classroom. They would send me an email back saying, oh, I can't because I'm gonna have a meeting at 11 o'clock. So like I'm missing 3 kids whenever I schedule. So I don't know. Like
well,
you said,
you know,
okay, I'll start with the 8:30.
The thing
on
is,
Monday.
too, you have Xandra working with you at your school with technology, right?
Yeah.
And you might want to reach out to Xandra because she set up a Google account for your school.
Mhm.
And between Xandra and myself, if you need some help, let me know. But Zoom can record your little meetings.
Yeah.
And you can post that in the Google Drive
Mhm.
and password protect it, and then share that with the couple of families who can't come, and you can email
Wonderful.
the username and password to access, so the kids don't have to watch it live. They can watch kind of on videotape.
Okay.
So let me know if you need help with that.
Okay. Thank you. I will. Thank you.
Hi.
St. Francis, yeah, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Maria, and I'm from Academy for Our Lady Grace in Fairview. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I actually have pre-K too. So the first time we got on, it was a little hectic. But what I noticed, what I do is I Zoom my meeting and I videotape it, and I also record myself. The other day, I read a book and I recorded, and I have an 11 o'clock in the morning circle time, and I do a 2:30 in the afternoon. The 2:30 one is my snack and story time or dance with the kids. So I do that with them, and they love it. So while they're having their snack and they're quiet, I can actually read them the book. And what I do also in the mornings for my 11 o'clock circle time, I have 16 kids. So what I tried to do is I'm breaking it up in little groups, like 4 kids at 11, then 4 kids at 11:15, and I go through the same routine, and it seems better to be like more of a one-on-one with them. So that works out great for me. So I hope, you know, maybe that would work out for some of you also. But
That's a great idea. It's a lot of extra work,
it
but
is.
it's some success. And maybe you can, as it moves forward, rotate the groups of 4 so they get to see
Yes.
other children.
Yes,
I'm
that's
sure
what we're doing. We're changing them all around so they get to see the other children. And then the group one is at 2:30, so everyone can log on and have snack together, and I eat snack with them. I'll dance with them. I'll put a music on. I'll dance. Like today's National I Want to Be Happy Day, everybody, just to let you know. So this afternoon we're going to be playing Happy by Pharrell Williams, and we're also going to do like the Happy, If You're Happy and You Know It dance. So we'll be doing that too. But good luck to everyone. I'm going to be zooming in a little bit, so I'm going off.
Maria, thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
And St. Francis Xavier Kindergarten.
Hi, how are you? I think my biggest struggle is a lot of my parents in my class all work still full days, and it's hard because a lot of them have siblings and there's only one computer or tablet they're using, and to find that time when they're all able to go on. Like I have like 14 kids in my class, so I actually called all my parents this past weekend to kind of catch up with them, and besides just seeing when would be a good time. And that's what we're working on right now, trying to find when I could do little groups to go on Zoom, and even if it's during recess time to get them to see each other, that would just make their day. I've spoken to all my kids basically on the phone already or FaceTime, but it's just having them see each other that I'm working on. It's hard because sometimes the emails through Class Dojo and the messages, they don't respond to right away. So I have to like call them to get like some of that response, because I know a lot of them are still working their full days, and you know, they're very like appreciative of me getting in touch with them, and I keep on them with everything, but it's hard. It's a struggle.
I can feel your stress level because you want to do everything you can, and it sounds like you really are. So I'm grateful for that.
They're great. They are. I have to say, they've all kept in touch with me. They all upload the videos. The kids are hysterical. The comments they say. One of my little students said, "I hope I get to see you soon when this coronavirus ends."
Oh.
And it broke my heart because like even when I was on the phone with some of them, it's like you could hear the tone in their voice. They like want to cry.
Yeah.
I miss them.
So it's heartbreaking. It is heartbreaking.
It is.
And for them, they have no frame of reference in the world. So this is devastating. And I'm sure they see the anxious behavior of their parents and their siblings, and they can't see their grandparents. They can't go places. We're really a support and a rock for them. We have to continue this ministry. It's
true.
It's really quite a calling for us at this moment. Thank you again.
Thank you.
Dominique, would you like to share?
Hi, I'm Dominique Cornetta from Our Lady of Mount Carmel in Tenafly. I just wanted to say with regards with contacting with the parents, I use Remind. I don't know if anyone else does, but I just find it very useful because the parents get a text and there's no phone number involved at all. There's just like a certain class code.
What is it called again?
Remind.
Oh, is that an app or a website?
Yes, so it's an app and a website.
And a
and so
freebie.
basically you create a class. Yeah, you create a class code and you give it out to your parents, and it's basically texting without phone numbers. And I share, so basically what I've been doing is I've been doing a daily video and sending it to the parents through Google. And in my Remind, I'll say, this is what we're doing today. These are the lessons we're working on. Please look at my video that I just posted this morning. And like I made binoculars with my kids the other day. So today they use them to go on a treasure hunt because we're on the letter T. So I said, use your binoculars and go on your treasure hunt and look for these items. I did like colors for this week, one item of each color, and take a picture and send it to me on the Remind app. So that's how I've been getting proof that they're doing their work, pictures of my kids. I've been doing Zoom once a week just because, like everyone else has been saying, it's very hard. I'm the 4-year-old teacher, so it's very hard because they're like, look at my house, look at my brother, look at this, or mom, help me. And so it's a little hectic, but I want them to at least still see each other and have that connection. And it's good to hear their voices, even though it's also really hard to hear the voices because I miss being with them physically. But I do suggest using Remind, because then you're not sharing your personal phone number, but you're still contacting with the parents.
And for those of you on the computer, if you go down to the chat, Carissa put the link to Remind in the chat.
And Carissa, she's the kindergarten teacher at Mount Carmel, so yay.
Yay.
I love the used toilet paper roll.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
I now have a bunch of projects that I say to my parents, please save all of the toilet paper rolls that you have. I'm giving them next week's projects today so that they can prepare over the weekend for next week's projects.
Terrific. Terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
My gosh. Thank you again.
Marissa, would you like to share with us?
Yes, I'm Marissa DiVincenzo. This is Carla Torter. We're working together. We work for Our Lady of the Lake in Verona. We have now combined both of our classrooms, so we have 30 children now. We've set up a Facebook account with a private hidden group. We have been posting, we were able to, before we had to leave the school, we were able to set up packets of writing and packets of all of our art projects. So what we've been doing is we've been filming our lessons, our circle times every day, and then our craft every day, and then some type of either movement or a math kind of thing. And we've been posting them every morning on Facebook. So it really hasn't been live. But what we've been able to do is see their reactions, because they're able to send us videos of themselves doing the things that we're asking them to do, sending us pictures of everything that they have done. We've been able to video chat with them through Messenger. So we've been able to see them one-on-one. Yesterday was the first time that we Zoomed. It was interesting. We gave them 2 options, because we do have a lot of families that, we have a lot of nurses, and we have doctors, and we have a lot of school teachers who are also trying to do what we're doing. So we gave them 2 options for Zoom. We gave the 10:30 meeting, and then we gave a 6 o'clock meeting, just because we felt like some of these people aren't even home yet, let alone with their child to Zoom. The first one was a little bit busy, but we were still able to sing our hello song. They all got to, hear their name, and then we unmuted them for them to say hello to everyone else, which they loved. And then we were able to do a quick lesson. So we did, find something with the first same letter as the first initial of your name and last initial. First letter of your last name. I can't speak. And I'm going to teach your children. So that was kind of fun, because again, like someone else had mentioned, go find something yellow, and they all left and all came back. So it was really cute. So that was good. The 6 o'clock meeting was a lot more manageable. There was more one-on-one because there were only 6 children involved. So that was really successful. So we were able to do the bunny hop together. We were able to, just do a little dancing. Oh, by the way, the first meeting, our music teacher got on as well, and she played the piano. So that was fun. But I think that for this coming week, we want to do an Easter egg hunt. We sent them home with Easter eggs. So I think what we're going to try to do is set up 3 Zoom times and only allow 10 kids in each of those Zoom times. And then we'll be able to manage it a little bit better. But that's kind of where we are. But the Facebook has really worked for us. The video chat has been very nice.
But the thing about the Facebook too is it could go on when they want to at their leisure. You know what I mean? So if the parent's not home, when the parent is ready, they go, oh, we're going to go on and watch the videos.
Right, right.
That's a positive.
You really have created a process that really fits your community. I guess that's what we really have to do. Get to know what our parents, where they are during the day, what kind of, do they have any extra devices, etc., and then design something that meets that particular school community. And I'm realizing that this is almost like student teaching for us again. It's like learning new ways to do things without a lot of support. It's September for us, the first day of school, because it's a whole new world right now. But we have to pat ourselves on the back. We are moving forward. We are learning, and that's our job, and that's our challenge. So I love what you're doing. Thank you. Thank you again.
Thanks.
Thanks for sharing. And Mary Thornton, would you like to share with us?
Hi, Mary Thornton from Lac-Adere in Montclair. So what I was having a problem with people getting back to me also, and I like this remind because I would much rather have texts. So this is great. So I thank you for giving me that idea, Dominique. It's going to be great. But one of the things I decided to do was I held a parent meeting last Sunday night at 8 o'clock, 8:30, when I thought the children might have settled down, and I had about 90% of the parents show up. I have a small class to begin with. I have 15, but even 15 is absolutely unmanageable to teach that way. And during the session, I pretty much opened it up and I said, listen, I said, I'm not going to take any constructive criticism that you give me as, personal. I'm going to take it as you're helping me understand better what your needs are. And, as we keep saying, we cannot, Gloria said it, we're all going above and beyond. You can't meet everyone's needs. I said, well, why don't you just share with me now what's working and what's not? And I found it was easier with the face and they all could see each other to kind of hash it out. And some people, like you said from Our Lady of the Lake, we had a parent whose husband's a doctor, and she said, I can't do this, this, or this. So they told us, and I said, well, this is what we've been doing. We also, I don't know if you all have this, but our school has the specials have stepped up, and they're doing special classes. So we now have gym, music, art, French, so that, which I think is great because they're doing Zoom. Before they were posting, and then we had a few parents say, we sort of would like to see them too. So now they're doing posts and Zoom. So I think we've created enough choices at this point. I've received 2 or 3 letters saying we can no longer Zoom for the same reason. The parent is a teacher, it's not working. So but the Zoom is recorded. So they're still able to access, you can record your Zoom and they can still watch your Zoom class with all their friends. Of course, they won't have the benefit of being able to be in the class and interacting with them. But as I came out last week, it seems like there's such a change just in this meeting from last week to this week. Everyone has tried something else new, which I think is incredible. And you've encouraged me to learn how to post a video of, with reading. My aide has been doing that, and I think that's what it was. We said a hybrid, I thought, was what would work best. And we're never going to meet everyone's needs, but if they have enough, like, what's that, a smorgasbord of choices to choose from, so they're all going to find their need. And of course, I always go back to, we're delivering the product. At the end of the day, we're delivering the product and meeting their needs. But I do feel like it has been taxing because I have to go to smaller groups, and I've broken it down now that I'm doing individual lessons 6 times a day for short periods with 3 students. Then I do two group lessons where I have 7 and 8 in each. I don't mind because I feel like it's gratifying. I find the kids are paying more attention when they're in the small group and they have to sit there and it's one-on-one and they don't have kids running around them while you're trying to work on something. But anyway, I'm just amazed at how far we've come. I'll mute myself. Sorry for talking too much.
No, you've been wonderful.
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And Monica, would you like to share?
Yes, so last time that we met, I was able to do videos. I actually did like 4 videos. And I'm happy that a parent had told, they've been very positive about it. They liked, because the children were happy to see me. And then I told them that I'm going to start Zoom meeting probably once a week, and then maybe in the future more. I don't know how it's going to be. So so that's why I'm happy, because parents have been very supportive, and I know I can get help from Diana, or even the pre-K for teacher, Ms. Riley. So she offered to help me, but I was successful at least to do like videos and links and all that. So I'm hoping to do well, with the Zoom, and let's see how it works. I don't have a big group. I have 11, but I think most of the parents have told me that the children want to see me and my aide, Mrs. Ashik. And we did have a Zoom with Mr. K, the gym teacher, and they were very happy just to be together, to socialize, to say hello to their friends, to see each other. So, I'm going to start with that socialization, and then later on I'll do that a little bit more. And I'm going to start maybe with 10, 15 minutes and go from there.
That's terrific.
Monica, it is so exciting to hear that. I mean,
you.
all of you are being so brave and trying so many things that you never have before. And
Thank
I'm just so grateful to hear that worked for you.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Patricia Atunes.
Hi, I'm from Christ the Teacher School. I teach 4-year-olds. We have not been using Zoom. We've been using Google Meets, okay? Yesterday, we learned about an extension that we could download, which has made it much, much better, because I feel like Carol Brady now, because everybody tiled, like we're tiled now. I can see everybody, you know, I feel like I'm in that commercial. It's great. Obviously, the drawback on Meets is I'm able to mute everybody's mic. Parents are having trouble understanding. They either have to teach their child to mute the mic and unmute the mic, or they have to do it. Some of my parents are setting them up and then walking away. Some are, in fact, sitting with them. What my concern is, I know there's security issues with Zoom, and I've been listening. You sent an email through Lori about how to protect us, but I'm not sure that my head is wrapped around that, either with Meets or with Zoom. And I was wondering if you could just take a couple of minutes just to explain what the exposure is, because in addition to your warning, I also read a newspaper article about the software glitch in Zoom that allows non-invited guests in. So if you could just spend a minute or two just going over that, so I can.
Absolutely. I was telling Gloria I was going to do that at the end for everybody, because that has been a big thing. And what I threw in the chat, for those of you who can access it, a link to what Patricia was talking about, which is how to put that Brady Bunch look into Google Meets. So for those of you who would like to have your Google Meets look a little more like that, you can get your tech integrator to help you if you can't get it yourself, but that link has step-by-step how to do that. Also, I put together a document that's in the chat as well, tinyurl.com/arcanzoom. And what I'm doing is putting together articles that I'm finding that are helpful explaining the issues with Zoom, and also videos that I'm creating to help people do step-by-step fixing settings. They're little 4-minute videos so that you can watch it, pause, check your Zoom settings, and come back. The biggest issue with Zoom is that what people were doing is they were creating free accounts, and they were posting their Zoom meetings on Facebook and Twitter and the school webpage where anyone in the world could see it. And so if you can imagine, people who have bad intents are bored, and they're going into Google and they're Googling for zoom.us/J, and they're just generating all of these Zoom IDs that people put out there publicly. And so that's where a lot of the problems are coming in. You need to have your Zoom meetings private. And what some people noticed, especially at the beginning who were on the phone, I was calling the people in on phones first. And we do have 4 people in the meeting right now who are on telephones that I didn't get to greet individually. And so, you know, my thing is, if one of those 4 people were destructive, as soon as they begin talking, I can boot them out of the meeting. But let me show you real briefly. And for those of you who are on a telephone, I do post this Zoom meeting as a video on YouTube. So I'll share that before we leave. But when you're in Zoom and you create a meeting, and if you're in Google Meet, this actually isn't as much of a problem, because Google Meet, you have to have a Google ID to be in there. If I create a brand new meeting, the biggest thing that you want to do is make sure that you set up a waiting room. If I go to start a new meeting, On the screen, one thing that you may be used to seeing by now, it says meeting ID, generate automatically, and here's your personal meeting ID. I always use the personal meeting ID every single time because I'm meeting with so many different teachers and principals. It's easier for me to use the same meeting ID over and over again. I haven't posted it anywhere online. So realistically, unless somebody, a teacher or principal posted it online, nobody should come across this meeting number. That said, it's only 10 digits. So if somebody is a programmer, they could program a thing that'll just generate thousands of meeting IDs over and over again until they randomly come across my meeting ID. There was an article I read yesterday that said there's a 14% chance that they would hit on my meeting ID. What I do is under meeting options, I always do two things. There's one checkbox that says mute participants upon entry. So that way, if somebody speaks, their name comes up in the middle of the screen. And if it was somebody who had bad intentions, I'm going to know what telephone number they called in on, or I'm going to know what computer they're on, and I can boot them out of the meeting real quick. I also enable the waiting room. And you guys see that when you join on the telephone or you join on the computer, it puts up a message saying, you know, please know that you're going to be brought in by the host pretty soon. I was on with principals this morning, or this is what the waiting room looks like. So up at the top, you can see the names of people who are waiting for the early childhood meeting, while I was down on the bottom in the chat with the principals. So when I was ready to start the early childhood meeting, what I did first was I looked for telephone numbers. Now, what I haven't started doing is I haven't started keeping a list of telephone numbers and which early childhood teachers calling in. With your school class, it's going to be a lot easier because you have, you know, maybe 9, 15, 30 students. So if kids are calling in, you can get a list of telephone numbers, kids who aren't calling in by computer, and then admit those people first whose phone number you don't recognize, and just ask them, like I did with a number of people at around 10:25, 10:30. I just called them in one at a time and said, could you please tell me what your name is and what school you're calling from? And then I was able to rename those people. Being that we have over 60 people, we have almost 70 people in the room, it got to the point where it was hard for me to do that for every single telephone number. So, you know, I kind of crossed my fingers and just let everybody in at that point. But definitely, those are two ways that you can protect your students with Zoom. Make sure that you don't post your meeting number anywhere publicly. Make sure that you enable your waiting room. Make sure that you mute people before they come in. And, you know, for the early childhood set, that should do the better part of the job of keeping everybody safe. I'm going to have a couple more shorty little videos that I'm going to give some hints and suggestions. So again, in the chat room, if you go to that tinyurl.com/arcanzoom, if you bookmark it, as I make videos, I'm going to keep adding them there. I continue to send notes out almost weekly to the tech integration specialists. And so I'm giving them hints as soon as I find them. And, you know, so that's kind of it. Zoom Meets, not Zoom Meets, Google Meets are great. Once this whole Zoom issue settles down and I get people kind of figured out, I'm going to play with Google Meet a little bit more. A lot of people like those better because you have to have a school Google ID to get into the Google Meet. There were some issues because it was intended like Zoom is for business, and Google's being very responsive to making changes. Last week, one of the Google Meet problems was that if a teacher closed out a Google Meet, and this was more at the early childhood and high school level that it was a trouble, when the teacher left the Google Meet, people could keep in it. So kids were chit-chatting even after their students left.
Really?
Teachers nervous. But on Sunday night, Google fixed that. So now when a teacher leaves a Google Meet, nobody else can be in it. Google also didn't have the ability for the teacher to mute kids, and kids were muting each other for fun and entertainment purposes. And I think that Google either already has fixed that or knows it's a problem and is working on fixing that. So, you know, the problem is, like I said, so many of you, this is your first foray into using technology with the littlest children. So if Zoom's working for you, I wouldn't be overly nervous, but I would definitely use those little hints. So Patricia, I don't know if you have any other questions of things you read online that you'd like to ask?
No, just real quick. So you're saying, I'm just testing for understanding. You're
Yeah.
saying that Google Meets is actually safer. That's my first question. And number two, how do we get, if we shouldn't be posting Meets or Zoom entry numbers, Meet numbers in our websites, how do we communicate with the parents what the Meet number is?
Right, so that becomes the next issue, especially since your little babies don't have facility to access, you know, classroom spaces. So I would put those meeting room links and numbers in emails to parents. So, you know, that would be my first choice. Things like that Remind app, like Class Dojo, those are protected spaces because you have to invite people into your Remind or your Class Dojo or your Seesaw or whatever you're using. So even though they're public spaces, they're public with a password that they have to use. But if you put it in a private Facebook group, that's okay too. So for instance, we have this early childhood private Facebook group. For those of you who this is your first time meeting with us because there were too many people in, there were over 100 people who wanted to join us last week. I'm posting my Google Meeting details there, but it's a private Facebook group. So it's okay if you have a private Facebook group to put it there. The problem would be if I used my my Facebook group that I have for technology for the Archdiocese of Newark. If I posted my credentials there, since it's a public Facebook page, anybody could see that. Does that make sense? Jenny Q, you've been waiting.
Oh, hi. This is my daughter's computer. We're sharing it. She's working from home as well. It's pajama day for St. James the Apostle. So I didn't want you to think I didn't get dressed for the occasion. I've been lucky enough to have a corner of my house where I've kind of recreated my morning meeting room. And the toilet paper binoculars were a great hit. We use them as well. And I'm getting a really good response back from my parents in varying degrees. Some parents are, looking for, worksheets and they want, more academics, where other parents who have older siblings are enjoying the flexibility of this. We do a show and tell. We're doing stuffed animals today. We do, I have a Facebook. I have a YouTube channel. And what I've been doing is filming my morning meetings, with weather. We start with prayer, pledge, and then a project or an activity. I've posted a nature walk, looking for God's colors, because a lot of them my students are trapped inside from where they live. So they are weather watchers. I don't know if you can see my chart. Got my little chart there. We're weather watchers. I gave them the assignment, and I've gotten a lot of good feedback. But I just posted my nature walk, just in general, looking for different colors, and that seems to be a positive response. So I think we're just trying really to. I'm definitely technology challenged, so I'm learning a lot, as Gloria had said, and thank goodness Ms. Savaki's there for me at our school. But I don't mean to ramble on, but I was just excited and want to explain why I was in my polka dot jammies. So there you go.
Thank you so much. I love your classroom. I noticed that somebody else seemed to film inside their classroom. Are you being allowed to go in to your school and gather some of your supplies?
Yes, we are. As a matter of fact, I've made second trip just to replenish. That's where I got my easel. I took my bulletin boards right off the wall.
Yeah.
Just so this way I could also film at a time that was more convenient for my family. But yes, I've gone back. I have milk crates set up over in the living room full of books in the next couple of weeks, different topics. I ordered caterpillars the other day. They should be arriving. So I'll still be able to do some of the things that I normally would do and keep it, as interactive as possible. Our challenge is that at this age, especially my particular group, we need to move and groove. We need to be moving, and it's really challenging for my parents who can now appreciate our predicament when we're trying to get them, settled in and settled down. So I'm just trying to think of different things to, get them moving, get them grooving. Like I said, with the outdoor walk, with our weather watchers, just trying. Now we'll start doing our planting season starting on Monday. So we'll see how that one goes.
Thank you so much. Is there anybody else that has access to their classrooms? Because many of us are not permitted back in the building.
It's a principal by principal decision, Gloria. And so, as Barbara Dolan was saying to the principals, that no principal can say to a teacher, you have to come into the building, right? And so if you wanted to go in to get something, you do have to speak to your principal, and it depends on how your school's set up. Some schools have key fobs where the principal was able to turn on the teachers to go in as they choose to. Some schools have keys, and so then it depends on, is there a maintenance person in the building who could let a teacher in, or is the principal going to be there? So it's a school
That's
by school
important. I
thing.
think that's very important to know. Thank you. That's really essential for some.
Mary Giaquinto, would you like to share? I know Mary has herself unmuted. Okay, we'll hold off on Mary. She may have had to step away. And again, from St. Francis Xavier, you had another thought?
I just had a question. On the Zoom, when you do these meetings, are you able to do that Brady Bunch look on the screen, like to see if I have 14 students, would I be able to see them like I would if I did Google, the other one that somebody talked about, the Google Meets?
Yes, so let me reshare my screen. I just took another couple of quick photos. So let me, okay, so let me get rid of this one. And again, for those of you who can't see this because you're on a telephone, this is recorded.
Oh God.
For how I caught you, but if you look on my screen, you can see Patricia's face, and then a little blue arrow, and then diagonally to the right of that is 9 little squares. If you click those 9 little squares, it switches you into this Brady Bunch view.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's awesome. Okay. I didn't know that. Perfect.
Yeah, so
you can do this right now too, because I've been going back and forth trying to see everybody's faces, and then sometimes just the speaker.
That's cool. Yes.
So unless you have 30 kids in the class, you should be able to see everybody who's raising their hand.
Oh, that's great.
Can I add something else? Because I've learned, if you're on the gallery mode, you see everybody's faces. In the left-hand corner, at our left-hand corner, is a little microphone. If it's red, that person has been muted. If it's not red, then the person that you can also see which children or which people are able to speak at the time or not. I believe that the host is the person that can mute or unmute people. Is that right, Ann?
That's right. If you look at the screen right now, underneath the names, you see the yes, no checkbox, mute all, unmute all. So that's how you could do the whole group. And then once you do that, if you wanted to unmute a single person, you can hover over their name, like I would hover over Gloria Castucci. A little blue button pops up that says more. And then you can click on more, and it gives you an option to unmute a particular person.
Wow.
And that's also how you would throw somebody out. So if somebody was inappropriately speaking, you could click on highlight over their name, and you won't see this as a participant right now. It's only when you're running the Zoom meeting. But when you hover over that more, in addition to muting people, you can send them back into the waiting room, or you can remove them altogether from your meeting. Somebody was asking, for those of you who record Zoom sessions with kids in them and then post them, did you get permission from all the parents first? And it is an excellent practice. You do have your permission to publish forms. So you know already if you have children in your classroom who should not be published online, it wouldn't hurt to talk to your principal and have a separate permission form just saying, in these unusual times, we know that you have given us permission to publish. We're just coming to you to let you know that we're, when we record the sessions, we're leaving, we're loading up the video recorded to our Google Drive. It's only available to people with the password, and do you still give permission? So it doesn't hurt to take that extra step. And of course, then you have that other issue that if there are students who did not have permission to publish and they're participating and you're recording it, you want to be extra careful to make sure that you or the principal reach out to them and let them know that we're attempting to record these sessions because there are families who work and they can only see this at 6 o'clock at night. Will you give us permission to record and put it behind a password, or do you need help for me to show you how to stop the video on your screen? So then that way, all you would see is a picture if the person's logged in like you see my picture now, or if you go to that gallery view, you'll see so many people, it's just their name on the screen. And so that would be a way to protect a child's privacy, so that the parent could mute the children and the parent could even change the person's name. Instead of it being Jose, you could maybe just put the letter J on the screen. So that way those kids who the parent don't want them published could still participate, but their voice wouldn't be heard if they're muted. Their picture wouldn't be seen with the video, and their identity, you wouldn't even see Jose. You know, if the parent wanted to go to extremes, they could put the number 1 and you would just know who that child is as a teacher.
I did see other questions coming up, and I don't want to take up the time without getting to the people who have specific questions. But somebody mentioned Easter week. What do we do during Easter week? You really have to check with your principal, but I believe the diocese is recommending that we all take a break from Holy Thursday on and not offer these services. I'm going to ask Ann to confirm that or not, but that's what I think I read from Barbara Dolan, that schools are now going to halt instruction because it's our Holy Week and we are typically off. But you need to check with your principal first. Ann, do you have an answer on that?
So for the most part, across the Archdiocese, all the schools are observing Easter break. And some schools are planning some alternate activities. And many of those alternate activities are being hosted by the principal. So the principal might be, I heard one principal say she was going to hold a class, you know, the principal's day, where the principal's going to hold a class for each class during Easter break just to touch base with the kids. There was another school where they're having a challenge to paint rocks. I think that was in this group you were saying, you know, so every family is going to paint a rock with a message on of hope, or a chalk drawing on the sidewalk. Some schools are having challenges to take photos and submit it to the school's Facebook page or email. But as far as teaching goes, we're trying to give all the teachers a break, because you guys, for 3 weeks, have gone from, like Gloria said, master teachers to being back as a first-year teacher in September. And so we do need that break. I just wanted to mention too, Jen was asking, Jen McGann, are the settings different on the iPad and the computer?
Yes, I saw that. Yeah.
And so Jen, like I said, I've been running to try to get the Zoom settings online, recorded as videos. And before I get to the Google Meet issues, I'm going to run through settings on the iPad and make some iPad videos as well. The settings should be the same. They just may be in different spots. But everybody who has a Zoom account on an iPad, you should be able to go to zoom.us, sign on with the credentials that you're using on your iPad, make the setting changes on a laptop or a desktop computer, and then go back to working on the iPad. So Jen, I definitely am going to have some videos coming for iPad, and they're going to be, again, on that tinyurl.com Arcan Zoom document. So keep an eye on that. And Bill and Michelle Collins are getting from your school emails from me. So one of the two of them will reach out to you as well. How do you block a picture? Okay. So when you're running a meeting, if it says Gloria Castucci, I hovered over her name, I chose the More button, and when you say stop video, the video camera is what allows somebody to show a live picture in front of their webcam, so that's the first thing you can do. The other thing that you can do, when I go to my Zoom meeting settings, I'm going down to the meeting, you just keep scrolling, it's a forever list. So under meetings basic, it's highly unlikely you're running into this. This is really going to be more something that you're going to see with the middle school kids. And you could certainly set these as an early childhood teacher as well. There's an option there called screen sharing. And so it's a blue button by default. So you could change that to only the host can share. And only the host can share, and then you hit save, and so then that way nobody can share their screen. Also, annotations. Last week it was really funny, in not a bad way, that somebody had gone down to the bottom of the screen and they started playing with the annotation option, and that allows people to draw on the screen. So somebody, I think, was trying to draw the word hello on the screen.
Yeah.
Was madly continuing to say, erase it, erase it, erase it. And so if you wanted, you could turn off the annotation. And then also there's an ability to have a whiteboard. And so, you know, with the whiteboard, that's where these annotations are. And so if I wanted, I could share a whiteboard and other people could share a whiteboard as well. So if you wanted to be, again, just extra safe, in the Zoom settings, you could turn off the whiteboard. So that's how you could do those couple things.
And
asking, yes, ma'am.
I want to ask Linda to show those designs you made for the computer to help the little ones understand how to work the computer. Can you do that now?
So I'm going to turn it over to Linda.
Hi, everybody. I'm Linda Manaka. I work at Aquinas Academy with Gloria and Jen. And Jen and I have been teaching our Zoom lessons. And what we discovered was, in the beginning, it's a novelty to us as well as the parents. So the parents covered and stayed on. But as we started to teach the children the various curriculum of technology, we're starting to lose the parents. So it's like open house until you teach the children to use the technology. One of the tools we use is nothing like papers, but we use this to show them and this to show them so they could practice. We could practice. Show us your mic is on. Show us your mic is off. And it was great when we were team teaching, because if we don't do the speaker view, we're able to signal them just by putting up props. So that works very well.
Right, so our pre-readers, anything that you could use with pictures is really helpful. I was asked, can we use these meetings towards our professional development hours? Definitely you can. You know, the easiest way to probably do it would be, I guess, drop me an email and let me know which meetings you're attending, and I could put a PD certificate together. And again, it's just hard because, you know, everybody can drop in, whether you're on a phone or a computer, and I don't necessarily know your name. So that's another reason to fill out the form. You know, we can try to figure that out. So yeah, if you want to use these professional development hours, definitely. And if you want to document with paper, I can send a PDF. I just need to know who's attending. If you do record, how do you go about editing? It is 11:39. So I need to respect your time, and there's still a last couple questions, but recording and editing takes a lot of time. I could actually put a little tutorial together over Easter break, how to do that. You know, there's so many different ways you can edit. It depends on what software you're using, what computer you're using. Is it an iPad? Is it a Windows? Is it a Mac? So it's a little difficult to edit, but I'll try to see what I can do. You know, when I do these videos, it takes a long time because I bring it into a thing called iMovie. I delete out a lot of the beginning information, and then I take screenshots and I use an editing software. Some people use Photoshop. I use a free thing called GIMP. And so it takes, you don't have enough time to edit the videos. Honest to goodness, don't even worry. I mean, you know, if you watch Jimmy Fallon at night on YouTube with his Jimmy Fallon at home shows, his kids are sitting on his head. I mean, you know, it's just, that's life. And so don't worry about making it professional, but if there's a reason that you needed to edit something, maybe the answer is just don't post that particular video. I mean, really, it's just, you have so much on your hands. Editing takes so much time. But if you wanted to know how, I'll certainly help you out. Just let me know.
I want to thank you again for your energy, your optimism, your ability to get knocked down and then picked up again, and know that we're all in this together. I want to close by, we didn't say the most important thing. How are you doing? Is your family safe? This all is very important, but please maintain the behaviors that the government is requiring or asking us. Keep that distance, avoid contact with others, stay healthy. God will get us through this. And again, we're going to go back to the Hail Mary to the Blessed Mother, because she's our gal. So together, let's pray. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Holy Spirit, amen.
Amen.
Hail Mary,
Full of
grace,
Praise
the Lord is
the
with
Lord
thee.
is with thee.
Blessed
Blessed
art
art
thou
among
among
women,
women, and
and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus.
Holy
Holy
Mary,
Mary, Mother of God,
pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death.
amen.
In the name of the Father.
Father,
Can you
Son,
please
and
repeat
Holy
your
Spirit.
email?
Amen.